Welcome everyone to Self-Made with D. Brown CEO. I'm your host, D. Brown. Today I have a very special guest with me, but before we get to my guest, I want to tell you a little bit about the show and about myself. I'm D. Brown, President and CEO of the P3 Group. We are the nation's largest African-American owned public-private partnership real estate developer. Self-Made, the show, will feature inspirational stories about individuals that started from ordinary circumstances that went on to achieve great success in their respective careers. For me, when I talk about self-made, I'm talking about starting from nothing. I'm talking about picking yourself up by your bootstraps and making something out of your life when all the odds are against you. Recognizing that you do not have to come from special circumstances or from an advantaged situation to be self-made and to be successful. You can come from any background, any walk of life. All you need is to be committed, have the dedication, the ingenuity and commitment to see your dreams through. So welcome to Self-Made with D. Brown CEO, and my first guest is Quintin Smith. Quintin, I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Thanks, D. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
No, absolutely. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Yeah. Now, Quintin, I know you grew up in rural Alabama, single mother household. Talk to me about your childhood. What particular challenges did you face growing up in a rural, impoverished community? Yeah,
it's interesting, trying to take some time, sit back, reflect on, childhood and how you got to where you are and the different things that trying to transpired over the years to do that. And so growing up in Alabama, it's, in the early 80s at the time, living in, an apartment community, small town, so everyone knows everyone. You already got that going. But then, of course, there's always stigma, of not being in a household where you got a mother and a father married and all of that. So, had those challenges there from just that little small regard, but definitely nothing big to overcome. And so we definitely grew up, poor. My mom, she worked hard, and she provided for me and my sister every day. And, I got to see a lot of her hard work and effort and everything she did, the sacrifices that she made just to make everything successful for us. And of course, with that, there were some things that, we might not have had growing up. And so, but the thing is, I had a lot of family members, relatives, a lot of people around that really helped our family be a true unit to grow into what it is today. So, there were definitely challenges. I couldn't go to some activities, couldn't go to some events, but the one thing I had was I had love, I had care with everybody around me, and I had opportunities if I just knew how to make the best of it by watching everybody around me growing and doing everything they could to be successful. So, even though we had those hardships, from not having the financial background to do certain things, we had the opportunities. If we just knew how to take advantage of them, that I was fortunate to do as well. So,
absolutely. So, Quintin, you've been in architecture and construction your entire career, and you made a decision very early in life that you were going to be an architect. And now, I want to add that architecture does not have a high concentration of minority participation, right? So, talk to me about this early decision and how you were able to see that through.
Yeah, so I, like I said, grew up in, Hermitage Hills apartments. And the one thing I knew, I always wanted to live in a house, so that was like the one thing that I just always wanted to do. I wanted to live in a house. I didn't want to be in an apartment complex. I knew we didn't have the money at the time to, afford to buy a house and all of that. So in second grade, I made the decision I'm going to be an architect.
In the second grade?
In second grade. And I knew nothing about the industry. I knew no one in the industry, but I knew that if I can be an architect, I could design a house and I'll live in a house one day. And that was really where my passion started, just from that simple idea and concept of just being able to design my own home one day. And so, I went through not knowing, like I said, anyone in the industry, definitely no one in the industry that looked like me, not knowing where to start, but I knew there was just certain skills that I had to have from just reading and researching, and that was have the ability to draw and know math. That's all everyone ever told me. And so I would literally come home every day after school, and I would just draw homes. I would get the floor plan magazines, sketch houses out, and at the time, I guess I thought I was going to be making like $1 billion a year. Because if I go back and look at the houses I was drawing in second grade, I mean, even today, no one can afford those types of homes probably. But I made that decision very early on, and it was just something about that intuition of making sure that I was following the path of, like I said, whether it's honing in my math skills, honing in my drawing skills, and then just being able to take advantage of opportunities when they finally came. And, here I am now.
Well, you've done a great job, but you attended Mississippi State University, and you pursued your dream of becoming an architect. Tell me what that experience was like. Why did you choose Mississippi State, and what was your experience like while you were there on campus?
That's actually kind of interesting. So growing up in Alabama at an early age, you got to pick Alabama or Auburn. That's really all it is. And so the thing that's so interesting about that, Auburn University had an architecture program. I was kind of torn between, both universities, but I was kind of more of an Alabama Roll Tide fan than I was an Auburn Tigers fan. And so it's really an interesting thing. So Mississippi State University was it was closer to home. It was closer to Florence. And then it also put me in a position where I didn't have to choose to go to Auburn when I was more of an Alabama fan. So, I made that decision really based on proximity. It was a 2.5-hour drive from Florence. Auburn University was a little further away. But then also at the time, Mississippi State University had a very prestigious program where they had a rate of, it was around 99% of their graduates got a job right after graduation. And so I wanted to make sure I was at an institution where I was going to be able to land a job, once I got that degree at the end of the day anyway.
Right. Now, you grew up in a single mother household, but you did have a relationship with your father. What role did your mother and father play in who you are today?
Yeah. Both of them are very ambitious individuals. And I'll say that's probably the biggest thing is seeing, my mom, it's interesting. She actually did not get her driver's license until she was 30. And so, but she worked every day. She found a way to get to work, found a way to do everything she needed to do. And so, being able to watch, regardless of what her circumstances were, she made sure she provided. And then my father, on the other hand, it was a lot there, from being around at an early age and seeing him and some of his successes in certain things. He was a businessman by all stretches of the imagination. He was definitely a businessman. And so watching him, was one of the things that really put me in a position of one day I can own my own business and not thinking of it. So he owned pizza restaurants, clothing stores, lots of different things that he always did around town. And, he taught me some valuable things, too. One, to take chances and not be afraid to take chances. And I remember one thing that he told me is that the worst thing anybody can say to you is no. And if you're going to be in business, you're going to hear that a lot. So get used to it and just keep on moving. And so those are a couple of things that resonated with me. But definitely their ambition and definitely, regardless of the adversities were in front of them, they made sure that they took care of home. And then two, they were always consistently trying to achieve to be better.
So Q, you spent a lot of time here in Peoria. You lived here for about 7 years, right? You worked on the implementation of the OSF Health Care System's $2 billion capital improvement plan. Talk about the impact that program has had on OSF health systems as well as the community here in Peoria.
Yeah, absolutely. OSF Health Care is one of the, or actually the, largest employer in Peoria. And so, with that, over 20,000 employees, lots of projects constantly happening, everything from small projects to large projects. And there's always more and more coming. And so, one thing that I was able to do quickly was evaluate the system, evaluate the processes, evaluate what they had in place, and try and get projects pushed through. Because that was one of the biggest pitfalls within the organization at that time, was just getting projects moving. But because of being able to change some of those systems and processes, got some major things that are actually underway that have been on the books for a long time and actually executed. One being the downtown headquarters project, which is a big thing for Peoria, to really do something to revitalize the downtown district. But then also another major project to get underway that had been in talks for about 10 years was the Cancer Center, the Cancer Institute with proton therapy. That's going to be something that's great for the community. It's going to bring in individuals from all different areas to the community for cancer treatment, and really put OSF in a position to really be a big healthcare cancer treatment organization moving forward too.
Well, congratulations on that. That's a very big deal, and I'm super proud of that accomplishment. Now, you're now the president of Integrated Project Solutions, and you're based out of Dallas. You still have an office here in Peoria. Talk to me about IPS and what you all are doing.
Yeah. So, Integrated Project Solutions is a company that really sits in that spot for an owner that has an idea of getting a project done. And so we're an owner's representative, program manager, is sometimes referred to as, to where, now after being in every seat, so I've been at an architecture firm and I've designed projects. I've been in a construction firm and I've built projects. And now it's really in a position to have a company to help clients that have that idea that I want to, build a $20 million facility, $100 million facility, $1 billion facility. Where do you start? And so now with this organization, it's really geared around that, sitting there and helping the clients achieve that goal and, take that idea they have for, whatever the project may be and figure out a way to get it designed, built, and executed so it meets their needs and goals moving down the stream now.
Now, we've talked about your long history of success in construction and architecture, but you also have another passion.
Yeah.
So you own a publishing company, right?
Yep.
So talk to me about your publishing company. What's the name of it, and what do you guys got on the horizon?
Yeah, so Wonder and Eyes Comics, that's the name of it. It's a company I started actually, I guess about 5 years ago now. And, the thing that I like about it is I've always had stories in my mind, creative, ideas, and, talking to people and, they see movies, they see TV, what everybody thinks like, man, like I can do that. And so I actually started this company because I always had a passion for writing. I always had a passion for expressing myself in different ways. And so, got a few comic books that are actually going to be coming out this year. One of the first one is going to be called Dragon Girl. It's actually about a young woman that's, she's has this connection to what everybody thought was extinct with these dragons. And she's going to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, but it's going to help her, define who she is. And she's going to help a lot of people along the way. But one of the real reasons for starting the company, starting that business, was to get other individuals an opportunity to express themselves. You see a lot going on today. You hear a lot about mental health. You hear a lot about different things. And so that was really one of the big things, to give people an outlet and be able to take their stories and turn them into something creative, that can hopefully inspire others down the road.
Okay, that's great. You don't put the architecture, the construction, and the comic books together.
Exactly.
But hey, it's a great thing you're doing. Now, from a community service perspective, you sit on the board of OSF Health Care Children's Hospital, also the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council. So talk to me about your work in those areas where you're trying to be involved with the community and help make the community better.
Yeah, I think, one thing that I'll say, Peoria is a great town. Peoria is a great city. And, for the time that I've been here, really look for different ways to bring a different view and perspective. And so that's one of the things that I've, been fortunate of. I've, born and raised in Alabama, lived in Mississippi, Arizona, Texas, Illinois, traveled, all over the country. And so I bring a different perspective just because of what I've seen. And so that's one thing that I really like the ability to do, sitting in those types of positions, is just to bring a different perspective to how an organization can move forward, how to attract more businesses, how to, grow the community, and just really being able to take, what's happened everywhere else and see the good. That's one thing about it. I've been able to see a lot of lessons learned, a lot of things that different companies, organizations have tried, and bring that here, which is something that is definitely helping try to push the community in a different way as well, and bring more individuals to the community to stick around and do business here too.
No, absolutely. I firmly believe that you have to give back to the community in which you're operating and doing business. That's an important part of, I think, being successful. Now, for all of this hard work and community involvement that you've had, Peoria Magazine named you to the 40 under 40 in 2020, right?
Yep, correct.
Talk to me about that achievement and how you felt about it.
It was interesting. First off, a lot of times you do stuff and you don't know if you're having an impact. You don't know if, people really are seeing, just how hard you work sometimes. And so, I really wasn't even thinking anything of it. I knew when I came to Peoria, achieving 40 under 40, was a really big thing here. And so I didn't even know I was nominated. But I had heard just some kind of talks, going around in town that, different people had mentioned, that, my name I've been nominated to this, and, didn't really think too much of it. And so I literally got a phone call, and a lot of times, we just work, day and night, and got a phone call, and it's about 6 p.m. on an afternoon that, hey, you've actually been selected to 40 under 40. And, we're going to have the event, unfortunately due to COVID, it was virtual that year. We're going to have the event, we need you to, get online and, and be prepared to, accept your award. You can come by the office and, pick up the award and all of that. And so it was one of those things that kind of hit me. It's like it really let me know that even though you don't hear the impact that you're having from everyone, as long as you are doing good, people are always watching.
Right.
And it definitely gave me that, mentality that, no matter what, people are watching, and what you're doing actually does make a difference. And so it really put me in a different position. Like, what, that really means a lot that the community is recognizing that. And it means a lot to me that, I was selected to such a high achievement. You think about how long it's been going on, and only 40 people are selected annually. So it was definitely something that made me feel good that, people are seeing the positive benefit of what I'm trying to bring and accepting of it.
Yeah, congratulations on that award. That's a very big honor. And so we're going to pivot back to Integrated Project Solutions for just a second. So when you launched Integrated Project Solutions, I was your first client, right?
Yep.
And so I think you're managing 6, 7, 8, construction projects for me currently. But one of the projects that you are managing for me is the Harrisburg School District in Harrisburg, Illinois. The Bella Pre-K Academy, which was a very, very important project for the school district, but also a transformational project for the K-12 space, because we delivered that project under a public-private partnership, one of the few of its kind in the nation. Talk to me about this project that you've been doing actually a great job on managing for me, and how you feel like that's going to impact IPS in your future.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. That project has so many different significant values to it. One, it sets a precedence in Illinois. And so I'm very passionate on being able to help clients get something across the finish line in this state, and particularly this city. And so it definitely has been a way to give a different avenue of a delivery method that I think a lot of people just weren't aware of. And so you see a lot of times that, you have school districts, you have different municipalities just try to figure out how to get money to get something executed without actually trying to or understanding a different path. And what this has done now is to set that precedence. And so now, it's given me an opportunity to have a success story.
Right.
And that's something that you always have to have.
Right.
And so this success story now shows the impact that, in working with, someone like yourself that's as creative as you can be with how to bring financing to the table, gives these municipalities, gives these school districts a better avenue of getting something across the finish line. But it's also great being first in that.
Right.
And so now, we are the leaders in being able to execute that. And so it's something that gives us that credibility. And it's something that, I see as being a foundational shift in the organization, growing from, starting it just here recently to what it can do, because now working with that delivery method, we're the founders of it in this state.
Right.
And of course, everybody likes to be first, and everybody gravitates to who's first in the industry. So
talk to me a little bit about COVID-19. Obviously the last couple of years have been very different times for a lot of people. From my perspective in business, I found opportunities that previously did not exist. So it did not have a negative impact on our business, because we were able to innovate and implement strategies that allowed us to navigate through COVID successfully. How has COVID-19 impacted you, your personal life, and your professional life?
When it all started, it's one of those things, of course, like everyone, what's going to happen next? What does this mean? How is our business going to survive? And it takes, I think, a creative individual to find, when those hardships come, when those, challenging moments come, to kind of pivot your business and figure out how to be creative and thrive through it. And so, one thing that I can say that was really beneficial was having a strong background in delivering healthcare projects. And so, of course, with that, healthcare institutions, got flooded. They had to stop a lot of things. But we were able to provide creative ways to find out how to execute projects because of the growing need that they had with all the cases rising. But the other thing that came from it was that it really eliminated boundaries, if you think about it in a way. It eliminated the boundaries of, you being in a location and can only do work in that location.
Right.
And so with being able to capitalize on technology, being able to capitalize on because, based here in Dallas or, an office in Peoria, we're able to do projects in Florida because everybody's gotten used to the world now of, talking over the computer, meeting virtually,
Right.
And then being able to do those types of things. So it actually was one of those pivot moments that helped the company grow. And so but you have to be able to take advantage of it when it comes. And so it hasn't had, from that stance, a negative impact on the business. It's really been, I hate to say it, but it's been something that helped the business thrive a little more just because it eliminated boundaries because of the virtual space.
Yeah, and so we're talking about COVID-19 and we're talking about navigating through COVID-19. And of course, one of the projects that you're managing for me is a $39 million higher ed project for Southeast Arkansas College. And that project was very unique in that we were able to put together a collaboration between the college and the county by implementing COVID-19 and pandemic responses within the facilities that we were developing. So in the event of the need to address pandemic concerns, the county can take over operations of the facilities and respond to COVID-19 and other related similar pandemics. And so you have managed that program, about a $39 million program for us. Talk about that program and how you feel like it has impacted your firm, being able to be on the cutting edge of having a county donate $3 million to a project to support, right, a local college.
Yeah, it's another one of those projects that become that success story. It's another one of those projects that become that way of, showing what can be achieved. As people are thinking through, the new ways of designing, the new ways of building, and thinking through we have to be prepared, better prepared the next time a pandemic happens. And so this gives that foundation to show that, hey, we can do some unique things. This project now can serve multiple purposes. And it gives a way because everybody's thinking about flexibility and how can you adapt spaces. So it gives us that way to show that this project now can serve its needs as serving the students, and be that facility for them. But in the event of something that happens pandemic wise, or, is so many different things that could, kind of bring that city to needing that type of location, to now it has its, basically it becomes its own command center. To where now, facilities don't have to sit there vacant. Facilities don't have to sit there and just, okay, what do we do with this? It becomes a space that's operational in every facet.
Right.
And so a lot of people are wondering okay, if I move forward with this new project, in the event that this happens in 12 months, we can't get together, what can we use it for? And so it gives us another way of showing hey, these are some creative solutions that we can bring to the table that gives people that ability to think outside the box. You have to start thinking creatively. You have to start thinking that, this one use for this one building is no longer what's going to survive. And how can we make things multifunctional? Right. And that's what that's done for us.
Quintin, you have been a great guest. Thank you so much for being on Self-Made. Thanks to the audience for joining me. Without you, there's no me. Thank you for watching Self-Made with D. Brown CEO. See you next time.